Thank you. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Indiana, Mr. Banks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm new around here, so I'm trying to figure all of this out. And to jump right into the conversation, many conservatives argue that mandates like RFS, while intention for incorporating and advancing biofuel development into the market, has not accomplished what is set out to do in the first place. So as I look at, as I research a little bit about growth energy, I look at the FEC campaign filings, which appear that Growth Energy PAC, which is associated with your organization, Ms. Skor, gives a lot of money away to candidates for federal office who support RFS. When I look at the list of board members on your website, it appears that your board members benefit quite handsomely from RFS. I wonder, my question is actually for you, Mr. Loris. I wonder, as I look into that background, how much can we rely on research from an organization like Growth Energy, their research, their testimony, their studies, when it appears that they gain a pretty significant political benefit from RFS in the first place?
Well, I won't speak to the credibility of their research, but I will say that when you point to jobs numbers created by the RFS and by government subsidies, what you don't see is the cost, not just to the taxpayers, but where those investments could have been made elsewhere. Yes, if you mandate something or subsidize something, you're going to get people to produce that. You're going to have jobs as a result. But those are investments, and that's an opportunity cost where those investments could have been made elsewhere. You could use your taxpayer money elsewhere. Those private sector investments that are chasing public money could have been invested elsewhere as well. So when you look at government subsidized jobs, you also have to look at the opportunity cost of what that money could have been spent on.
So as I dig a little bit deeper, one of Growth Energy's board members said that mandating biofuels is the renaissance of rural America, is what he said. Is that true? Are mandating biofuels really the cure for American energy, or the quote renaissance of rural America, or is this just another example of crony capitalism?
Yeah, I would say it's cronyism for sure. And we do have a lot of cronyism in energy markets. It's not limited to biofuels, but absolutely when there are certain select few that benefit in these rural communities. But as I mentioned in my oral remarks as well, there were certain rural communities that bet big on this promise and lost. There's a lot of local and state incentives, and when you had corn price spikes in 2008 and 2012, a lot of these companies went belly up. Contracts to farmers weren't paid. You had these small towns going through very difficult bankruptcy litigation. You had tenant farmers who were being squeezed out of the land because the land prices were increasing so much. So even in rural America, I think there's been a lot of winners and losers, not to mention, again, all the livestock producers and the increased costs for animal feeds, which is why you have organizations like the Turkey Federation and the Chicken Council and the Restaurants Association, which are also a lot of small business owners opposing this policy.
So you would agree then that actually with RFS, we've actually distorted the market?
Absolutely.
Okay. My next question, when I look at Growth Energy's website, they claim that the use of American ethanol reduces our nation's over-reliance on volatile foreign energy markets. And Ms. Skor's own testimony states that every gallon of clean-burning ethanol decreases our dependence on foreign oil. But from my research, from a lot of sources, it seems that the U.S. has become, in fact, more reliant on foreign imports of soybeans and ethanol from South America to comply with RFS's goals. So, Mr. Loris, can you speak a little bit about the accuracy of Ms. Skor's testimony about reliance on the RFS eliminating the reliance on foreign imports?
Yeah, well, in terms of biomass diesel, we have seen a huge increase in imports from, I believe it was 7 million gallons in 2009 to over 900 million gallons in 2016. We are now a net importer of biomass diesel by about 600 million gallons. So yes, we are relying on these other countries who can provide these fuels cheaper. And that's not to say in a world where we have the RFS, we should limit our ability to import. If other countries can make this product cheaper, then we should be able to import it. But that just slaps in the face of economic reality if we have to slap tariffs on our U.S.-based biofuel production to keep it competitive and keep it meeting America's market demand. That's a result of the actual mandate.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.